Welcome back to Inside the Lines. Happy Thursday. We're hitting everything today. We got the NFL, we got the NBA, a little bit of hockey, some college basketball, and of course, most importantly, all of your guys' questions. I'll be looking out for them in the chat. Feel free to ask us whatever that is. Before we get to Thursday night football, my good friend John's here to give us some NHL picks today. So we have two money lines here. We can start with the Capitals headed to the Flyers tonight.
Yeah, we're going to get a little more aggressive in NHL, especially these next few months going into the baseball season. So I've got two plays today. The first one's on the Caps on the money line, plus 120 against the Flyers. You can find that on ESPN Bet. We don't have to talk about that much, but that's where you find it. It's expected to be Charlie Lindgren versus Carter Hart. Both have been two of the best goalies in the league this season, to be honest. But Lindgren's been even better than Hart. The Caps have been much better on the road historically the past few seasons, and the Flyers have actually been worse at home at 6-6-1. So I like the Caps at plus money there. And that's an act now because I'm seeing that line get shorter and shorter. So the second one is Canucks on the money line, plus 100 versus the Panthers. You can find that on Hard Rock. This is one where you might want to wait and see to make sure the right goalies are starting. It's expected to be Demko versus Bobrovsky. The Canucks have won 3 in a row and 6 of 10, while the Panthers have only won 5 of their last 10. And the Panthers just got beat 4-0 to start their road trip against a really bad Kraken team. The Canucks are 11-3-1 at home, while the Panthers are 8-5-2 on the road, but the Panthers have been a lot worse on the road the last couple seasons. And we have tons of value in the database. We have the Canucks winning 61% of the time, but they're underdogs here. So you guys can do that math.
Love a little database value here. Great job, John, getting into the NHL mood. I like it. More to come, more questions in the chat. Please feel free to ask John. But yeah, we're going to start cranking up the NHL season a little bit here. Now we got to get to the bigger stuff here, bringing in Jake and Steven to talk some Thursday night football. Shockingly, a lot of props that I like and props that you have put on the sports, Steven. We'll start with Quentin Johnston, who's objectively one of the worst wide receiver rookies in the league, but having some momentum the past few weeks.
Yeah, he just didn't have the start that the other, picks, Zay Flowers and Addison, right, and got off to even Jackson Smith and Jigba. But his line's jumping up. I think 29.5 is already the lowest now, and it's gone up for 4 or 5 yards in the last hour. The model has him at 41 because, the last 7 games, he's had averaged nearly 5 targets, caught a little over 3 catches for 38 yards a game. He's the good thing about being in the doghouse in the first 6 weeks is that he might have had a lot more time practicing with Easton Stick. He had a beautiful 56-yard reception, and probably the only highlight of the Chargers last week. And so, yeah, he is a big play receiver. So, he's not. It wouldn't be crazy to see him have, just need 1 catch, and he should have plenty of targets given that the injuries on, obviously besides the quarterback, but Keenan Allen and even Donald Parham, who's a decent tight end. Backup tight end is questionable. So It should be plenty of if you look about the 38% of yardage that would go to those 2 players ordinarily being redistributed across the board, he accounts for, even with his limited poor start, counts around 10% of the yards. So he should be good for, I would say, at least 17-18%. Easton Stick's numbers right around 200 for his 190 prop line. So that's why I think that even if you just think he has an average game based on expectations, he should be over this number.
The math checks out. I saw that Nick S. also liked his longest reception over 16.5. I kind of like that because he's had some of those explosive plays, right?
Yeah, and especially if Max Duggan sees time. He's obviously their TCU quarterback, and he might if Stick is struggling.
Talk about chemistry there if Max Duggan starts playing in this game. All right, let's move over to the Raiders side here. 2 props we like, starting with Aiden O'Connell. The Chargers defense looks better, but the bar's in the basement. So this is possible here.
Yeah, I mean, they've held their last 3 opponents to, they gave up 225 to Denver, which sounds good, but it's actually not that good because Denver usually doesn't pass for over 200 yards. But before that, they had 2 really good games in terms of yardage allowed against Baltimore and New England. But overall, they're still 4th most passing yards allowed. Now, the scary thing here is I think Nick has posted in the chat. Didn't understand why the line was coming down on Aiden O'Connell. It was, around 200. Now it's down to 190.5 in some spots. And it's because, the ghost of Jimmy G might return. I'm hoping that it's kind of a ploy to sort of motivate O'Connell to do what he's actually done, with the exception of last week, which was just an ugly game for both sides. And both sides were playing conservatively because it was 0-0 for so long. And, it was one of those games where you didn't want to make a mistake to lose it. The over is 4-2 in O'Connell's games when he has at least 25 pass attempts. Josh Jacobs, it doesn't look like he's going to play, so that could lead to fewer rush attempts, a higher ratio of passing. So I think that, if O'Connell plays a full game, is not benched, we actually project him to zoom over this with 235 yards.
Right. I see a ton of questions in the chat. Before we go, this is my favorite prop, this last one, but let's go to the model quick, hit some rapid fire questions. I'm seeing a lot of good plays that I like. I know Jake talked about one, but going to Easton Stick, back to the Chargers, how about his rushing yards here? Line at 10.5.
We don't have enough data on Sticks really, so the model, we're not treating him as a big runner. I know he's a dual threat in college, but
yeah, he was a pretty good runner. His last year in college, he had 677 rushing yards, averaged 6 yards an attempt. So,
but where did he play?
North Dakota State.
Yeah. So, we just don't have enough information for him to put any kind of strong recommendation. I wouldn't put any stock in the fact that we only have 5 yards projected for him.
Yeah. I like this play, especially with a quarterback with not that much experience, who hasn't had a ton of experience with the playbook. They tend to leave the pocket a little early. Yeah, that scares me a little, but
it does surprise me they didn't run at all. When I knew he had a reputation as a dual threat quarterback, and I didn't see any carries last week despite playing for 3 quarters, I was worried about that.
All right, let's look at a lot of people asking about Everett here. I think his line's you can get 4.5 at plus 115. I think you can get 3.5 for a little more juice as well. But overall, do we have any value on him?
No, we have 3.7, so we probably wouldn't take that right now. We have the same receiving yard prop, so nothing in our model.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's hit one more question. Question. Eckler and Jacoby Myers. This feels like a Prize Picks moment, but it's not. Eckler and Jacoby Myers to combine for over 125 rushing and receiving yards. Who's up for some quick math here?
All right, 46 plus 30 is 76. All right, plus Myers. Let's call it 50 to make it easy.
Yeah.
75 plus 50, 125. Oh, sorry, I didn't. It's exactly the same number. So sorry, nothing.
Nothing there, but great math skills, Steven. Love the quick math on the spot. All right, let's head back to our other play of the day. Michael Mayer. Whoa, I just took Jake out by. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys.
I just know the advantage of having a son with learning issues and in remedial math classes, because I actually do a lot of simple, basic math like that in my head. So, anyway, Michael Mayer. I love him. Over 19.5 receiving yards. He had a stretch where he was, seeing a lot more action. In the last few weeks, he's been down, but in the model we have him at 28. Devontae Adams is questionable, so he might get a higher target percentage if Adams is slowed down or not there. Again, Jacobs being questionable, maybe that's more passing percentage. So we like him to have it around 2 point. He's averaging 2.3 receptions, and he's averaging 11.5 yards per reception. So if he can get 2 receptions, he's got a decent chance of hitting over the 20 in that spot. The prop lines, if you look at Adams, Myers, Renfro, and Mayer, it adds up to under 160 yards. O'Connell, the combination of O'Connell and Jimmy G, you would think would be low 200s. So that's a lot of unaccounted yards, receiving yards. And yeah, some of that can go to the backs. But I see it a situation where I think that those yards could go to 2 of these 4 players are going to go over significantly, based on that my math there. He's averaging 26 his last 4 games. Again, no huge games recently, but 29 overall in the 7 games since becoming I call him a starter. Even he technically doesn't start sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this play a lot. We've gotten some sneaky. We've cashed on Michael Mayer a few times this year, definitely. Let's go to the chat quick. I don't know how we forgot about him. Cameron Dicker, the kicker. Is this a kicker type of moment? I mean, we don't have great quarterbacks. These teams both don't really know how to score right now.
Yeah, it scares me them moving the ball. I would have no value.
It's such a low total. We're only projecting barely over 1 made field goal for Dicker. And so it's and there's positive juice on under 1.5. So it's always kind of a not fun bet to bet, 1 or
Derek begs
0
to differ.
made field goals, but that's the model value would say under.
Okay. Yeah. We're not really an under type of show. Let's get rid of that. All right. Continue to ask your NFL questions in the chat. I'll be looking out for them, but we do have some NBA value today, as well as one great player prop Jake has for college basketball. We'll get through that quick. Little player prop for Wisconsin here.
Yeah, Steven Crowell, his line is 11.5 on Prize Picks, but on FanDuel, it's 12.5, so you're getting a full point of value here. If you do play Prize Picks, I know they have like a 12 Days of Christmas special going on, so you get some boosted payouts there. But we have him with 13 points. It's a good matchup against a bad team. He's hit over 12 points in 5 of his last 7 games, and he had 11 points in his last matchup against the number 1 team in the country, Arizona, in his last matchup.
I got to get on these Prize Picks college props.
Now that I'm going back to Easton Stick. Yeah, his lowest rushing line, 17.5 on the books now. Whoa. And there's some 20.5s out there. So
we move so quick. The lines are just on. Someone's watching the show right now. We're moving lines, guys. It's pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. All right, let's move over to the association. We'll start with your prop, Jake. Steph Curry over 9.5 rebounds and assists. We're leaving out the points today.
Yeah, I just felt better with the rebounds and assists because he played the Clippers twice in the last 2 weeks. In both games, he had 15 rebounds and assists. His line was 9.5 in some books, up to 10 and several others, and heavily juiced at 9.5 in some. So at minus 120 on Topeka, you're getting pretty good value at 9.5. And so I think we have him projected for 10.3. So pretty good value if you get under 10 in any of your books.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's head over to Miami here, playing Chicago. Back-to-back night, but we still like they're over on their team total.
Yeah, it's come down to 109.5. Chicago. Now, the other day, what I bet was a Dame against Chicago. Jacob came up with a very important factor after I lost the bet. So let's see if you have anything secret about Chicago you need to tell me before I say this. Better say it now.
Point guard, so maybe take a Lowry under.
Anyway, so Miami, the same players, Bam, Hero, are all game time decisions. So we're not sure if they're going to play, but they've been since in this stretch where they've both been out. They've only had one offensive dud. Miami, they scored like 99 one game. They're averaging 119 over the last 7. The 7th game ago was when Bam got hurt. Chicago allows 9 more on the road than they do at home. They allow 118 on the road, and they allow 39% 3-point shooting in the road games. So, and Miami shoots over 40% of threes at home. So Miami's got with their lineup, they got 4 or 5 players who could get extremely hot from 3, and so it's the kind of one of the situations where if this guy's got it going on, they just feed him. If he doesn't have, they try someone else. And between the 3 or 4 really excellent 3-point shooters, they usually find the one guy who's going to pop. So I like Miami to go 110 above.
Let's stay in this game quick and head over to the model. Nick asking about Kobe White over for Chicago, over 26.5 points and assists. Doing his homework, has gone over 4 out of 5.
I know we don't have model value because I was looking into this earlier. I think we have 17 points, 5 assists.
Yeah, we don't.
He's playing much better lately.
Yeah, we don't. The model doesn't like Kobe White, and I swear it's not because I didn't like Kobe White because he's North Carolina, right?
North Carolina.
Yeah. He cost, I don't know, he cost us something, years ago, and maybe I put some.
He's on our list.
Maybe I angrily, in a drunken stupor, put some kind of anti-Kobe White code into all my models, but we never do seem to have him properly projected, and it's partly because his fault, because he'll have a great game and then have nothing. And and we're always projecting that kind of average and not capturing the fact that he's really a bimodal player. He's either a nothing player or a huge game player, and so we almost never actually, the way that we're reporting our numbers, accurately get him right on.
Yeah, let's head over to the Kings Thunder game. I know we have a prop here, but do we have any value on the over?
No, it's been creeping up too. So I don't know what it's up to now, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher than 244, 245 now. We don't have value on the over, but I don't think that's a bad play because it's this close spread. There's a decent overtime chance in this game. And I hope there is an over because that's one of the reasons why I like Chet Holmgren to score over in his prop.
Yeah, that's what I put up here. Yeah, 16.5 right now, minus 114 at Bet Rivers. You can get it.
So the line makes sense that it's not particularly high because Chet's his numbers on the road have not been nearly as good at home. He averages, I want to say, around 15 on the road. The over is just like 2 and 8. So this is one of those deals where I'm kind of hoping regression to the mean. In this case, regression more to his overall average. Sabonis is a negative player if you look at his defensive rating. And so I think that, and Sabonis had 5 fouls the last time they played. So I'm hoping they use Chet to try to get Sabonis maybe into some foul trouble, get him out of the game a little bit for his rebounding and passing ability. So I think that, and then again, I do like the overtime chance here for Chet to get over this.
Yeah, that's what helped me cash my 25 days of bets prop the other day. I wasn't even watching the game, and my sister's boyfriend texted me. He's like, "Oh my God, Chet hit!" And I was like, "Yeah."
You hit the 3 free throws to send it to overtime too.
Yeah. I got to get back on the horse today. Bad DeAnthony Melton play yesterday, but I think I like Michael Mayer to be my play of the night.
Mm-hmm.
But I hate putting that pressure on you guys because their stakes are high here. All right, let's do one more question-esque. Going to Boston, Derek White over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Has hit in his last 7. That's giving regression to the mean. I don't know if I want to hop on that.
The thing that scares me with, I hate Boston props just because you never know who's going to go off because they have 4 really good guards / forwards, small forwards who play a lot. So I know Steven got swayed off of the Drew Holiday prop earlier that we were talking about.
Yeah.
And similar reason. I played Kristaps over 5.5 3 points attempted.
The guy does put it up there. I will give it.
So kind of like Steven had over 1.5 3 points made in the last game against Cleveland. And for that reason, like I think he's with Jared Allen playing, he kind of likes to shoot more outside attempts against them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Derek White has been killing it. I don't know if the person asked the question, if they know if his PRA line is up from where it was 2 days ago or not. So I'd be curious about. I don't think it's probably the same. If it's the same, I think I'd be more comfortable with it. We don't have any value. We have pretty much the same line. Again, our numbers are usually skew a little bit under the line because people tend to bet overs for player props. So the sports books take advantage of that and bump up most numbers across the board. And then on top of that, when there aren't any major injuries, then everyone's source gets reduced in the model, especially during the regular season. In the playoffs, it's a little different because they usually have shorter rotations, and so you won't see that. You'll see more overs projected because even though everyone's playing in the playoffs. Again, that's a tangent. I think some of you find that stuff interesting. I don't think Mackenzie's one of them, but
I'm trying to look at I'm trying to find when Trey Murphy's playing again because. What are we doing? Not just hammering him every single night. He played.
I love that guy. Yeah, I think I got it.
Tomorrow against the Hornets. Are the lines out yet?
I don't think the prop lines are out yet.
No. I mean, that is the sneakiest guy in the NBA right now.
He pulled up from 32 feet yesterday and nailed a 3, and he was feeling confident yesterday.
He's awesome. Yeah,
he is awesome. All right, we're gonna have our eyes out on that tomorrow. As for one more question, we'll hit that, and then we'll head out of here. Jokic over 1.5 made threes.
Yeah, he got kicked out of that game the other day. I can't believe they kicked out. Is that the second game he kicked out early? We don't have value on that. We only have 1.3 projected, but
it's plus.
I know his points line's 27.5. We have him at 28, so there's some value there. Might have gone up to 28.5 in some books.
He's been in a slump though. That's what worries me. I had a lot of I had that spread parlay on Denver against Houston, and Sun Jun really outplayed him, and he was 9 for 26, 9 for 32. So he's been in a shooting slump recently. So I don't know.
I just think he has 100 pounds of Nick Claxton, so I think he might just
Claxton.
it just go out.
Down low. Yeah. So if you he's a smart player. If you haven't been hitting your perimeter shot and you see a guy who's got 100 pounds on, maybe you just and Claxton's not even tall. He's a long arm, but he's like what 6'9", maybe 6'10".
No, he's 6'11". He was a guard. He was actually a guard at Georgia. Interesting enough.
That doesn't sound like someone who could handle Jokic.
No.
So yeah, so maybe Jokic doesn't attempt as many threes since he's not been lighting it up.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good stuff there. If you guys haven't, if you could hit that like button for us, please, that helps us out tremendously. Again, any other questions you have, feel free to ask. The boys are back with the prop party tomorrow. I will not be here, so hopefully they don't light things on fire. Bear with them. Hopefully they can get through it. All right, with that.
The rating bump in your absence.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. But good luck with your bets tonight. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter and have a great Thursday.